Hello there, people of the internet. This is not an old video. We are just out here at the old gun range. I'm doing some filming while I'm up here visiting family. So I was not expecting to do any filming in my time up here, but I have some spare time, so I figure, you know what, why not grab the camera and come on out here. While I'm out here, I want to talk about some of the firearms that I left up here on purpose. Most of my firearms I brought to my new living location and new filming location, because this spot over here is like, oh, I don't know, 5 hours away from where I currently am, and driving 5 hours to do some filming just is not viable, especially with the amount of content that I like to upload. I really like doing gun stuff. So most of my stuff is down south. Wasn't expecting film, so most of it stayed down south. Okay, there's Kevin. There you guys go. Kevin's doing fine. He's still here. We still own the property, still own this gun range. There's just a lot of movement and stuff on the gun range, but it's not too bad today, which is why I'm out here filming. So, although I brought most of my stuff down south, there's a few key items that I left here in the event that I needed to come up here for some purpose. Now, in this particular case, the purpose of these firearms is to make YouTube videos, but if something were to happen and I was up here for whatever reason, for like an emergency reason, and I needed access to firearms for a particular job or situation or something like that, whenever I was packing up the collection, I was debating on what it is that I would be taking up here with me, or leaving up here, or taking down there, and I came to a pretty gosh darn good conclusion. So first things first, one of the things I left up here was my Remington 870 12 gauge shotgun, because having a shotgun is one of the most versatile tools that you can have. This right here is probably one of the best firearms that you can keep in any location, especially because go out and get yourself a half-decent shotgun. You can get some pretty good shotguns out there for not a whole lot of money. One of the best budget options that comes to mind is probably going to be the Maverick 88. That is a really good shotgun for the price point. No bells and whistles or anything like that, but really good shotgun for the price point. But I decided to keep my Remington 870 up here because, I mean, there's very few situations that could not be solved with a Remington 870, especially with the different kinds of ammunition that I have up here. We're just going to be shooting some bird shot because I have mostly bird shot, and we're only shooting at, oh, I don't know, a car at 30 yards or so. So we don't need any particularly powerful or potent cartridge. We'll save the buckshot and the slugs that I have on standby for just in case purposes. But the shotgun, there's a lot that I can do with that. However, just because of the limited practicalities and the long ranges that I have around me, let's see this wide open field here, I decided that keeping a full powered rifle would also be a really good idea. Debating on which one I wanted, I elected to keep a Mosin Nagant here, chambered in 7.62x54R, just because we have some of those old school spam cans of ammunition up here, like those old 440 tins of 7.62x54R, the ones that you open up and they kind of smell like acetone and vodka and communism. That's actually very spot on for how they smell. But we got ourselves a couple of those tins up here. That's a bunch of ammo. I figured I'd go ahead and leave the Mosin up here. I also have a fair amount of Turkish surplus 8mm Mauser, so I left a Turkish Mauser up here as well. So I got the options in the event that one rifle goes down. I got myself another. Both of those rifles I got for dirt cheap. Like, I'm not really complaining about those. Those full powered rifles should serve me rather well. Now, as far as an intermediate rifle, like a good proper intermediate rifle, I elected to leave an AK-47 up here, chambered in 7.62x39. Now, the reason I did that, for the most part, I would say the AR in the US is going to be the superior platform, just because of a bunch of reasons that we're not going to get into with this video, but that right there definitely is my choice of go-to. But I chose to leave an AK up here because that's what the family has, and specifically that's what my father has. He's got an AK, he's got a surplus of 7.62x39 ammunition on standby. We've got parts, we've got magazines, we've got chest rigs, we've got a bunch of stuff to run the AK. He's just an AK guy, and that's what he prefers. He does not have an AR, so just by that logic, it would not make all that much sense for him to run an AK and me to run something like an AR. Just logistically speaking, that would not be a good idea. Odds are, if I do come up here, I would be bringing my AR. Like, in the event that something goes down, I have my proper setup to, you know, go stuff where I can just immediately grab that and have everything packed up and be gone within like minutes and have good viable setups. But in the event that something goes down and I'm not near that stuff, I like having caches in other places. This way I got backups and I can go ahead and go to those backups. So backup here, AK, because that is what this property is running. So I got the shotgun for survival, I got the full powered rifles, and I got the intermediate. I've also got myself a semi-automatic 9mm, just because having a handgun on standby is always going to be beneficial. And I got myself like two 22 long rifles and a 22 long rifle handgun, but those right there are like my father's, not actually mine. So of course they're gonna stay here on the property with the family. So that all being said, let's go ahead and send some, actually let me just make sure there's nothing alive in this first. I had it laying on the ground. Let's send some 12 gauge shotgun shells downrange. There's not a whole lot that you can't do with a shotgun. Like if I were to pick just one gun to leave up here, it would probably be this Remington 870. As a matter of fact, that's basically where, well, not necessarily Remington 870, but the 12 gauge shotgun is basically what I leave in most of my caches. Like, they all have a little bit of differences in terms of what is there, because I've got stuff stashed at basically every family member's house. But I think that every single one of them at least has a shotgun, and for good reason. Even these little birdshot rounds here, they're not going to be all that great or all that devastating, like outside of 15 yards or so. But if you know what a cut slug is, then you just kind of cut the shell, or a cut shell, and you just kind of cut the shell, it turns your birdshot into essentially a slug, and you have yourself a good amount of power going downrange after that. So speaking of power going downrange, let's send some lead with what we've got here. Ow! I forgot how much 12 gauge it recoils. Thank goodness this is only 2 3/4 shotgun shells and not the 3-inch stuff, because that stuff is awful. Okay, well, there's a couple of rounds out of that, and whew. Okay, well, that's that's about all of that I care to shoot. I'm gonna leave that right there. All right, so there's my 2 cents on the subject. I wanted to talk about what I had up here, hear what you guys have to say. I think that my choice, my decisions, my rationale behind what I left up here and why is pretty good. Let me know if you disagree on that, but I think it's a pretty solid setup, especially considering that most people have no setup whatsoever. Especially considering that most people that do have a setup have one setup in one location, and that is all that they have. Oh, well, I always want to advocate getting different caches and storing them different places. Even if you just go out and get yourself like a cheapo 22 long rifle and a brick of 22 long rifle and leave it somewhere, or a cheapo shotgun and leave it somewhere. Just have those options. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode.